Good day to you. Welcome to Mentoring Matters. I'm your host, Kate Corinne, your virtual mentor. Okay, so I first want to, I believe it's been a few days since my last post. I've been pretty transparent with I'm doing 30 videos before I ever share my link. And really promote the channel, right? And one of the reasons for that is because I'm super self-aware. That's part of the journey. And I can't post every day unless I have something substantial to say every day, which is impossible. I'm a product of like I keep saying old school. I'm a millennial, but I'm an elder millennial, I believe, because I was born in 85. I think millennial goes somewhere from 1980 to 1995. So I'm 10 years older than the youngest millennial. But that was a big thing that we were taught in school. Like, don't just look to have something to say. Say something when you have something to say, something that's substantial. So, I understand the analytics and supply and demand and how everything works in this online media-based era. But I still can't post if I don't have anything to say. So I don't want to let my viewership down. And you guys really may connect with the content. It's my hope and prayer that you do. And now you're on the 6th video, waiting 2 weeks for the 7th video. Like, I just don't want to do it that way. I want to have a library of resources available so that when I don't have anything to say, you guys are still cool. You know what I'm saying? You've been fed, as they say in the church community, enough, and then maybe you will watch a video again if it resonated with you, and then we can get into higher dialogues. What kind of videos do you want? Q&As. But the fact that between this video and the last video, I'm certain that is over a week, in between. And so for me, it's confirmation of the way I am going about this process. I believe this is episode 9 of the 30 that I intend to create. Okay, so, and the other thing is I have a lot of things I have been through and witnessed previously, and it just feels stale to me. I only want to talk about my journey as it exists currently, or what I experience or encounter. Encounter is a good word, because it's not just what I personally experience, it's also what I witness, what I hear by way of third party. Anything that I encounter, I feel more comfortable if it resonates with me discussing that in these spaces. We call it a teachable moment in the parenting community. I used to be a parenting blogger, and there are these moments throughout the day where you could really hit your kids with some knowledge, So anyway, I digress. Shout out Inglewood. That is the neighborhood in Chicago where I grew up from about ages 10 to 17. So there's a clothing line called Inglewood Branded, and I try to rep it as often as I can. I believe the shop is on 63rd, but it's something you can find on Instagram. Not being paid for that. I just rock it with it. Also today found out that Brandon Johnson is the new mayor of Chicago. So shout out to the first family of Chicago. Beautiful Ebony family. So I'm excited about all the work he's going to do. And he's actually also a former teacher. All right. So today we're going to talk about reacting versus responding. And this is it can be a little tricky, but reacting and responding are so different. The fact that they are synonyms is almost like a crime. Synonyms meaning words that are exchangeable, because they're really not. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. First, we're going to lay out the difference between reacting and responding. And then we're going to talk about why we need to be trained in the art of response. It's going to help you all, especially during this social media era. And I keep coming back to that. When I was 12, there was no social media. 15, there was no social media. I think by the time I was in my late teens, MySpace was coming out. I think so. I think I might have been 19 when MySpace became a thing. But the point is one of the other, Paul Vallis ran against Brandon Johnson, and they were able to pull some racist tweets that he had put out there into the universe. No doubt how he actually feels, but it's a reminder that we can't afford to be reactionary because someone is always watching. And before you could take that post down, it's already been screenshot. Literally, in like the academic community or even in the business world, it's called documentation. Someone will have documentation of your thoughts when maybe you were in a bad mood, or maybe when you were responding to something, were reacting to something else. So there are a lot of cautionary tales around not being reactionary. People end up in prison. People's lives change for the worse because of how they reacted in any given situation or to someone, when the focus should have been on responding. All right, so let's get into it. Reactions. And you guys are probably used to me looking at my notes by now. Like, I know some vloggers are able to just get on here and freestyle it, but I was raised in an era of talking points. So, reactions don't require any processing time for emotion or thought. When you are reacting, it's just, it's whatever pops into your head. You have not had time to process anything. Your emotions may be all over the place. Your thoughts may be all over the place. You may be triggered. You may be misunderstanding. There may have been a communication error. You don't have time to get into any of that or process why you are getting upset, because reactionary has a negative, passionate, fiery connotation. You know, when people fly off the handle. When I was growing up, there was a term called knee-jerk reactions. All of that is like you reacted in emotion and from a place that was not well thought out. So what could it be leading to? Where are you headed when you're emotionally triggered, not thinking, not taking time to process, and just vomiting a reaction, vomiting some words up or some actions up because of what took place? So the first reason you know you should not be reacting is because the reaction means you have not had time to process. Processing is a major key alert. All right, reactions don't improve communication. Your communication around any situation will never get better as a result of a reaction. Never. It's not, reactions are not designed that way. Reactions are like defenses, defense mechanisms to just thwart whatever's coming our way or whatever we perceive is coming our way. So you're not going to get to the bottom of what's going on. You're not going to be able to investigate. You're not going to be able to continue the conversation. You're not going to improve your communication. You're not going to see any positivity because you can't de-escalate while reacting. De-escalation means bringing a situation back down. It's here, you try to bring it down here. Do you think being reactionary is going to get that? It's going to give you the result that you're looking for? Is it going to improve communication? Is it going to de-escalate? No. No. So that's the other reason. So again, you haven't had time to process. You're not having time. Because you didn't process, you're not going to be able to improve communication and de-escalate, period. All right. Reactions do produce more reactions. Domino effect, chicken and the egg, whatever you like to call it. It's the process of someone said or did something, or you witnessed something, you're reacting, and then there's a reaction to your reaction, and then you react to that reaction, and react. And now we have a volcano of reactions, and still nothing has been resolved. No communication improvements. There's been no progress because there's been no processing. And so now things are getting redundant. We're all just reacting, and we're literally hamster wheel running in place. Just react. At best, the reaction allowed you to vent. But my personal opinion is that venting is not for the person that you want to vent about. Venting is a personal process. Venting is not the same as communicating. Venting is, I have built up negative emotions that need to be expressed, and right now they're sitting in my body, wrestling, causing discomfort, so it needs to come up and come out. But venting is not necessarily the truth. Venting can be an array of emotions. Some of them are based in fact, and some of them are based in fiction. Because not everything we think is correct, and not every thought we have, not the way that we view a situation, our perspective, our triggers, our past. So, in constructivism, which is an education term, it's a theory, no one ever learns from just an isolated moment or thing. They're taking that moment and that thing and they're attaching it to something they do have knowledge of. So they're constructing the new information based on information that already exists in here. So if my best friend does not return my call, and in the past I've had best friends not return my call because they were flaking off of the relationship. Now when this best friend doesn't answer my call, I'm constructing what I believe that I'm learning about this friend, which is that they don't want to be my friend anymore. But I'm constructing it based on them currently not answering, but more so, I'm fixing it with my past. I'm affixing it to my past. I am constructing my worldview continuously, as we all are. So, where was I going with that? Oh, so because, and so now there's this series of reactions, and they're all ego-based defense mechanisms brought on by something that is or isn't triggering. More likely than not, it's triggering. But where was I headed? I was headed somewhere. Oh, I was doing a side note on how when you need to vent, that's something you need to do in a journal, to your mom, to your best friend. If it doesn't involve your best friend, you need to do a voice note. You need to do a video diary. But if I am upset with you, I'm not venting to you about you, which is why I keep my mouth shut in terms of you until I'm ready to have a real conversation, until I'm ready to respond. Okay? So, responses are the result of active listening. When you are planning a response, you already know you have to fully listen to what they're saying. In a reaction, you're just looking for the parts that you can thwart. Oh, what about this? That's not true. Now you're looking for holes in their argument, holes in what they're saying, something that you can use to kind of push that energy back their way. But a response, the heart of a response is active listening. What is being said? What is being said on the surface? What is really being said at the core? What do these things mean? And what is my relationship to this information? Okay, so for example, right now, I think I've shared that I am on sabbatical, finishing my master's. I'm not working right now. I'm working on my channel, spending more time with my children, being really reflective, working on passion projects, and not rushing the process of my next move, which I think I'm going to go back into the classroom. I came into educational leadership in a somewhat fast-paced motion, and I don't think that I spent enough time in the classroom and really connecting with students and learning more about my craft. But anyway, and if I choose to do so, I will be waiting to the upcoming school year. It's currently April, and so that will be another 4 months before I am actively, it's my dog moving around, Before I am, I took my Ring camera off my front door and put it in the house in order to charge it, but it's on the floor, so every time the dog walks past it, I get like an alert. But anyway, so that will be another 4 months until I am back actively working. And so my partner, he goes out, he works, he brings home the bacon, so to speak. So, some days he works longer than others. So let's say that he goes out and he works longer than usual, 12, 13 hours, and maybe usually he only has an 8 to 9 hour day. So now when he comes home, I'm upset because he has not been here. Okay, let's do that. And so I say, you've been gone all day. And he's like, I've been working. You know what I'm saying? Which is a very strong point. I've been working. I don't want to come home to any nagging, period. That's a reaction. But in his response, he can process that and say, my girl been home all day by herself. I was gone longer than I'm usually gone. The children, because right now, this is a great example. Because right now, the children are with my ex-husband for spring break. So it's very quiet around here. It's been great because I've been able to get so much studying done and keeping the house clean and not cleaning up after anyone. So it's been a nice little break. I love my kids. Shout out my kids. I miss you. So let's say he becomes irritated and reactionary at merely me saying, you've been gone all day, and you know, whatever. I don't want to get too far off into the example. But if he chooses to respond instead of react, he can think to himself, what was her day like? I'm usually not gone this long. She may miss the children. Let me give her a hug. Let me let her know let me just say the words, I'm here now, babe. I want to have a great night with you. That is a response versus, what do you mean? I've been working. Get the F out of here with that. Those are completely different. In one instance, he's reacting. Now, if he says, what the F do you mean? I've been working. Leave me alone. Now, I respond, what do you mean leave you alone? Who are you talking to? And so now we've moved completely away from the fact of the matter that perhaps I just missed him. And because it's the chicken and the egg, we can't go back and discuss how I should have, in this example, brought it to him. But let's not even deal with that, because that's going to be a non-factor in your situations. You're not going to be able to go back and say, well, they should have approached me like this. That's on them. What you have to focus on is how you are responding instead of reacting. So perhaps I should have done an example where I was the one responding instead of reacting. But it really doesn't matter if I say I'm the person or it's another person. What do you mean? I've been working all day and I come home, you ungrateful, paying the bills around here, you know, and then you paying my bills. First off, I'm the one that it just because I'm imaginative. I'm an imaginative person. So believe me when I say I could take this argument 30 miles out. You hear me? This fictional argument. But if he wants to be responsive, he is not pushing me off. He is not finding a word that he doesn't like. He is not getting loud. He is not being defensive. He is getting down to the bottom of why I have negative energy and why I'm saying anything to him about working when working is positive. So in a response, you're always going to be active listening, and you're always going to be asking, why is this happening? What is being said? Why is it being said? And I'm talking like this because it's something you have to teach yourself. But once you get into the vein of responding instead of reacting, it won't be this long process. It won't be 5 minutes of inquiry. It'll be all of 10 seconds. Pow, 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 pow. Okay, I'm ready. So sometimes the response takes some time. And then sometimes, depending on the simplicity of the response and how well you've trained yourself, it'll be just as fast as a reaction, but it won't be a reaction. So I don't want to get caught up on time spans like reactions are instant and responses are long and drawn out. No, it's not a time thing. It's a foundational thing. Responses are strategic. So once I have thought about that, once I've done the active listening and I've thought about what's taking place, now I want to cater my response towards getting the right result. And what is the right result? Do I want to improve communication? Do I want to get down to the bottom of this and get a resolution so that we don't have to discuss this again? Do I want to take this moment to reassure my partner? I mean, I'm using this romantic sense just because it's easy, but what do I hope to achieve? And now, what type of response is most likely, not definitely, there are no definites, what type of response will most likely give me what I want? So if I am my partner in this situation and what he wants is to have a pleasant evening after a long day at work, now he has to ask himself, how do I need to package my response in this communication to get the result I want, which is her coming over here to lay down on my chest and watch this movie with me and go to sleep. That's what I want at this point. I don't want to walk too much through it because I don't want to enter the puppeteer, space of what he should or could say. But he does have options, right? He can say, I missed you too, babe. Come lay down. Or don't be like that. Or did you have a rough day? Well, even the did you have a rough day? Well, yeah, maybe. Because maybe I did have a rough day. Maybe I have the things that I want to express that have taken place with me during the day while I was home. But sometimes that's opening a door to a larger conversation. And remember, what he wants is to lay down and chill and go to sleep. Maybe he doesn't want the larger conversation. So maybe he doesn't ask, did you have a bad day? But he remains calm. He relies on his positive energy to diffuse my negative energy. And then he says something like, I'm going to check in more with you, babe, when I'm going to be out so long. But, oh, man, I know I'm usually not gone that long. It was uncomfortable for me, too. Or, whatever. There are so many different strategies for, it just depends on your personality type, what you want to say, what you think is appropriate, what you know about this person. That's why it's called a strategy, because it's not fly by night. You thought about it. What do I want and how do I achieve it? Strategy. A response is strategic. And then, and I kind of spoke to this. Resolutions have a goal. Responses have a goal of resolution. I am responding because I want to resolve this, versus I am reacting because I want to defend myself. Reactions are a defense mechanism. Responses are for solution. So there's never any reason to react. Now, of course, there are occasions where it's like, I shouldn't have said that, but I'm glad it came out. Well, the larger issue there is the communication that has not taken place during more appropriate times. So yes, we're glad it all came out, but let's not fool ourselves. This was not the only way for your truth to be known or spoken. It's how it ended up happening, which may have not been the best approach for other reasons. So, quick recap before my phone dies. Reactions don't require processing time or room for thought or emotional processing. Reactions do not prove communication and consistently escalate situations. Reactions produce a series of ego-centered reactions from all parties involved. Responses are the result of active listening. Responses are going to be strategic, and responses are going to lean in 100% effort to bring a solution. We cannot afford to be reactionary. Reactions cause people to become disrespectful. Reactions cause combustible situations. Reactions lead to physical altercations. Reactions to physical altercations lead to violence, including knives, gunplay. Reactions are the reason that a great deal of people are in prison. Reactions are the reason many people have been blackballed and unable to get work in certain fields. They were too reactionary, because this is an age of cancel culture. So you will get canceled. Your livelihood will be at risk. You won't be able to take care of yourself. Your resources can dry up, all because you were reactionary instead of response driven. You have to think of it all as PR. If you were watching this situation from afar and you worked for one of those people, how would you tell them to respond? You would definitely advise anybody that you're watching against the reaction. So now think about if it wasn't you, if this was your friend, or not even your friend, this is a person you are paid to advise. Once you start advising yourself in the manner that you would advise someone if you were their paid consultant regarding their life issues, game changer. You'll be able to be objective and detached, which is helpful for processing the ebbs and flows of this thing we call life. All right, like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts when you see this. Hopefully it's not 6 months from now. Hopefully I get these 30 videos done at least within the next 60 days. But peace and blessings, and always remember that mentoring matters.